You've had these spells since childhood. Tell me what you can from the beginning.
This creature is a force more powerful than evil. Its desire is to consume all life on Earth.
The night is silent, yet in its shadows, a figure emerges, elongated and unnerving, stepping lightly yet purposefully, as if the darkness itself obeys him. Nosferatu is not merely a story of a vampire. It is a haunting experience, a descent into fear, superstition, and the uncanny. From the very first frame, the imagery grips the mind with its surreal and unnerving composition. The haunting silhouette of Count Orlok, his grotesque features illuminated against the stark light, immediately evokes a sense of unease that lingers long after the scene fades. This is cinema as an art form of terror, where the unknown and the inexplicable are allowed to breathe, unfiltered by dialogue or overt exposition. The film's approach is as much psychological as it is visual, relying on suggestion, shadow, and the manipulation of space to instill fear in a way that modern horror often struggles to replicate. Every setting in Nosferatu is meticulously designed to evoke an atmosphere of dread. The streets, empty and shrouded in mist, the gnarled forests, and the desolate homes all contribute to a pervasive sense of isolation. The tension is built not through jump scares, but through anticipation and the fear of the unseen. The use of shadows is particularly masterful, stretching the Count's elongated figure across walls and floors, turning ordinary spaces into landscapes of horror. There is a deliberate rhythm to the pacing. Every scene is crafted to amplify suspense. Silence and stillness play a role just as critical as the haunting musical accompaniment, creating a world where fear is constant and inescapable. The absence of overt explanation leaves viewers suspended between reality and nightmare, forcing them to confront the primal fear of the unknown. Nosferatu thrives on its ability to make the familiar strange. Ordinary houses, towns, and even human behaviors are imbued with an air of menace. The vampire himself is not a charming or aristocratic figure. He is grotesque, rat-like, and otherworldly. This subversion of the traditional romantic vampire archetype forces audiences to face a raw and terrifying embodiment of death. Every movement of the vampire is deliberate and chilling, as if he is both predator and inevitability. The design of Count Orlok, with his sharp features, clawed hands, and piercing eyes, becomes an icon of horror that has influenced the genre for generations. His presence alone transforms mundane settings into landscapes of fear, making every encounter fraught with danger and suspense. The emotional weight of Nosferatu is carried not through dialogue, but through expression, gesture, and imagery. The character's fear is palpable, communicated through wide eyes, trembling hands, and frantic movement. The tension between human vulnerability and supernatural menace is constantly emphasized, reminding viewers of the fragility of life in the face of unstoppable forces. Scenes of the vampire creeping through villages or stalking his victims are punctuated by moments of quiet horror glances exchanged, shadows shifting, doors closing, all suggesting that evil can appear without warning. The film captures the sense that dread is always one step ahead, lurking just beyond the reach of understanding or control. Symbolism saturates every frame of the film. The vampire is more than a predator. He represents disease, death, and the unseen forces that threaten society. Towns and villages, under his influence, become microcosms of fear, illustrating the spread of corruption and mortality. The journey of the vampire is a journey into chaos, as natural order is disrupted and the ordinary is overshadowed by supernatural terror. The contrast between light and darkness is never merely aesthetic, it carries thematic significance, highlighting the perpetual struggle between life and death, hope and despair. Every visual choice reinforces the idea that the world is unpredictable and that the shadows hide truths that are incomprehensible and terrifying. The pacing of Nosferatu is deliberate, with a tension that ebbs and flows like a dark tide. Early sequences establish normalcy, with characters engaging in seemingly mundane activities, which makes the intrusion of the vampire all the more horrifying. When Count Orlok first appears, the shift is immediate. The tone becomes oppressive, and a sense of vulnerability permeates every scene. The film's narrative unfolds with an inexorable inevitability, emphasizing that certain forces cannot be resisted or avoided. This sense of destiny, of inescapable doom, heightens the horror and leaves viewers with a lingering unease. It is a slow-building terror, not reliant on overt shocks, but on the gradual realization that something beyond comprehension has entered the world. The use of light and shadow is revolutionary, transforming physical space into a psychological landscape. Shadows elongate and twist unnaturally, creating visual metaphors for the distortion of reality by supernatural forces. Count Orlok's shadow becomes almost an independent character, a sinister presence that haunts the environment even in his absence. This interplay between darkness and illumination underscores the theme of fear as an omnipresent force, capable of invading even the most secure spaces. The cinematography turns architecture and landscapes into extensions of the horror, making every corridor, alley, and window a potential site of dread. The careful composition of each frame creates tension that resonates visually as well as emotionally. There is a surreal quality to the movement and gestures of the vampire, making him feel not entirely bound by the laws of nature. This physicality, combined with his grotesque appearance, reinforces the sense of otherworldly menace. The character embodies both the allure and repulsion of the unknown, drawing viewers in even as they recoil. Every scene in which he appears is charged with anticipation, as audiences understand that the vampire's presence signals inevitable tragedy. The tension between curiosity and fear is central to the film's enduring impact, as viewers are compelled to watch events unfold even while dreading their consequences. This duality fascination mixed with horror is a hallmark of the film's genius. The influence of Nosferatu extends far beyond its immediate story. Its aesthetic choices, including the use of shadows, silhouette, and expressionistic angles, have shaped horror cinema for decades. It demonstrated that fear could be communicated through mood, design, and suggestion, rather than relying solely on narrative or dialogue. Modern horror films owe much to this pioneering approach, from the creeping dread of vampire films to the psychological tension in supernatural thrillers. The film's emphasis on atmosphere and psychological horror has cemented its status as a classic, a touchstone for filmmakers seeking to explore the darker aspects of human experience. Its legacy is evident in the way subsequent generations have approached horror as both an art and a medium of storytelling. The narrative tension in Nosferatu is heightened by the human reactions to the supernatural threat. Characters respond with a mixture of disbelief, fear, and desperate action, illustrating the struggle between ordinary life and extraordinary evil. The interplay between human vulnerability and supernatural power creates a dynamic of suspense that resonates deeply. Each attempt to confront or understand the vampire underscores the limitations of human agency in the face of overwhelming forces. This tension is universal, reflecting fundamental fears about mortality, the unknown, and the limits of control. The film's ability to explore these themes through visual storytelling, rather than exposition, makes it timeless and continually compelling. Every element of Nosferatu works in harmony to create an immersive experience of fear. From the chilling visual design to the careful pacing, the film immerses viewers in a world where terror is tangible and persistent. The absence of modern cinematic effects does not diminish its power. Rather, the reliance on shadow, framing, and physical performance enhances its psychological impact. The simplicity of the techniques used allows the audience's imagination to amplify the horror, engaging them in a participatory experience of dread. The film's power lies in its suggestion and atmosphere, showing that sometimes the most terrifying experiences are those left partly unseen, inferred, and imagined. The emotional resonance of Nosferatu is profound, tapping into fears that are universal and timeless. The figure of Count Orlok represents more than a single villain. He embodies the inevitability of death, the intrusion of the unnatural, and the fragility of human life. By focusing on mood and imagery rather than complex dialogue, the film creates a purer form of horror, one that speaks directly to instinct and emotion. Every shadow, every frame, every movement contributes to a sense of pervasive unease, leaving a lasting impression on the viewer. The enduring fascination with this film lies not only in its story, but in its ability to evoke a primal, almost visceral fear that transcends time and culture. In conclusion, Nosferatu remains a masterpiece of horror cinema, demonstrating the power of visual storytelling, atmosphere, and psychological tension. Its influence can be seen in countless films that followed, shaping the way horror is conceived, crafted, and experienced. The film's success lies in its ability to make the ordinary terrifying, to imbue spaces and figures with a sense of supernatural dread, and to explore the deepest human fears with artistry and precision. Every frame is a study in fear. Every shadow, a reminder of the unknown, and every encounter with Count Orlok, a brush with mortality. It is a film that continues to haunt, inspire, and terrify, a testament to the enduring power of cinema to explore the dark corners of the human psyche.